Grayson Park had been a happy place once, before the incident. On May 17, 1993, two children, Emily Patterson and Jason Miller, were playing on the seesaw when the central support beam snapped without warning. The heavy metal plank came crashing down, crushing them instantly. The park was shuttered the next day. Over the years, the city council debated reopening it, but every inspection revealed new problems: structural instability, strange cracks in the foundation, and most disturbingly, reports from workers who swore they heard children laughing when no one was there. Now, 30 years later, the rusted gates remained locked, but not everyone stayed away. Bet you won't touch the seesaw. Lena Nguyen rolled her eyes at her boyfriend Jake's smirk. They stood outside Grayson Park's rusted gates with their friends, Marco and Becca, passing around a flask of cheap whiskey. The full moon cast eerie shadows through the broken slats of the boarded-up entrance. "Please," Lena said. "It's a broken seesaw, not a haunted house." Becca wrapped her arms around herself. "My cousin did his security here last summer. He quit after one night, said the seesaw was moving on its own." Marco snorted. "Probably just rats." Jake nudged Lena. 5 minutes, that's all. I'll even go with you." Lena hesitated. The park did look creepier than she remembered. The skeletal remains of swings swayed in the breeze, their chains groaning like dying animals. The slide had collapsed in on itself, a rusted metal corpse. And at the center of it all, the seesaw. Its paint had long since peeled away, leaving behind scarred metal. One end rested on the ground, the other tilted toward the sky like a grave marker. "Fine," Lena said, "but you're buying breakfast after." The gate protested as they forced it open, its hinges screaming. The sound set Lena's teeth on edge, but Jake just laughed, shining his phone's flashlight ahead. "Relax," he said. "It's just an old park." The moment they stepped inside, the temperature dropped. Lena's breath fogged in the air, though it had been warm seconds earlier. "Just the wind," she told herself. The seesaw waited ahead, its shadow stretching long in the moonlight. As they approached, Lena noticed something odd. The ground beneath it was clean. No leaves, no debris, just bare, packed earth in two perfect circles beneath each seat, like something had been sitting there for a very long time. Jake nudged her. "See, not so." Creak, the sound froze them both. The seesaw had moved, not much, just a slight dip of the raised end, but enough. Jake's laugh was too loud in the stillness. "Wind." Lena didn't answer. There was no wind. Then it happened again. The raised end dipped lower this time, the metal groaning under invisible weight. Creak, thud. Lena's pulse pounded in her ears. "Jake, we should go." But Jake stepped forward, shining his light at the empty seat. "There's nothing more." "Push me." The voice was high-pitched, a child's voice, coming from the seesaw. Jake stumbled back, his light swinging wildly. For a split second, the beam illuminated two small figures, one on each seat. Their faces were blurred, their clothes faded like old photographs. Then the light passed, and they were gone. But the seesaw kept moving. Creak, thud, creak, thud. Faster now. Lena grabbed Jake's arm. "Run!" They didn't make it far. Something grabbed Jake, an invisible force yanking him backward. He screamed as his feet left the ground, his body slamming onto the seesaw's left seat with bone-jarring force. "Jake!" Lena lunged for him, but the right side of the seesaw slammed down, missing her fingers by inches. The metal groaned ominously. Jake thrashed, his face white with terror. "Lena, help me!" Snap! The sound was deafening. The central beam broke exactly as it had 30 years ago. But this time the metal didn't just collapse, it exploded. Shards of rusted steel impaled Jake's chest. His scream cut short as the seesaw's left side smashed into the ground with crushing force. Blood sprayed across the dirt as his body folded in ways it shouldn't. Lena stood frozen, her ears ringing. Then from the wreckage, giggling, two distinct voices. "Again!" Lena ran until her lungs burned. She didn't stop until she reached the police station, her clothes streaked with Jake's blood. The officers didn't believe her at first, not until they saw the footage from Jake's dropped phone. The video showed everything: the empty seesaw moving, Jake being pulled onto it. And worst of all, after the snap, as the camera lay sideways in the dirt, two small hands reaching into frame to drag Jake's broken body into the darkness. The park was demolished a week later, but sometimes in the dead of night, people near the empty lot report hearing it. Creak, thud, creak, thud, and the sound of children laughing, waiting for new playmates. Riverview Playground had been abandoned for 15 years, ever since the disappearances began. First, it was 8-year-old Noah Carter, last seen swinging from the monkey bars during a birthday party. Then, twins Lila and James Park, who vanished while playing tag near the same structure. Over the next 2 years, 4 more children disappeared from the playground, always near the monkey bars, always without a trace. The police found no evidence of kidnapping, no signs of struggle, just empty monkey bars swaying gently in the wind. The park was condemned in 2008, but the wrought iron fence did little to keep people out, especially teenagers looking for a thrill. Mia Torres and her little brother Eli were about to learn why some thrills should be left alone. "You won't even touch them," Eli taunted, his 10-year-old face scrunched in a smirk. Mia rolled her eyes because they're covered in rust and probably tetanus. They stood outside Riverview's broken gate, the late afternoon sun casting long shadows across the derelict playground. The monkey bars loomed ahead, their once bright red paint now a scabbed, peeling brown. Eli kicked a rock. "Scared?" "I'm not scared," Mia snapped. "It's just stupid." "Prove it." Mia hesitated. She had heard the stories, kids whispering about the playground where children never came down from the monkey bars. But Eli would never let her live it down if she backed out now. "Fine," she muttered, "but if I get lockjaw, you're explaining it to Mom." Eli grinned as she stepped through the gate. The air inside the playground was unnaturally still. No wind, no birds, just the distant hum of traffic and the creak of the monkey bars swaying slightly, as if someone had just jumped off them. Mia approached slowly, her sneakers crunching on dead leaves. Up close, the bars looked worse, rusted through in places, the metal pitted and flaking. She reached out, fingers hovering an inch from the nearest bar. Eli's voice carried from the gate, "Boo-ring." Mia scowled and grabbed the bar. The metal was cold, not just cool from the evening air, but a deep, unnatural chill that seeped into her bones. She yanked her hand back with a gasp. Eli laughed. "Drama queen." Then the bars shook, not from wind, from movement. Mia stumbled back as the monkey bars trembled violently, their rusted joints screeching. Something was climbing them. Not up, down. From the topmost bar, small, blackened fingers curled into view, followed by a hand. Too long, too thin, the fingers twitching like a spider testing its web. Then another hand. Then a face, its features stretched and sunken, its mouth a lipless gash. Eli screamed. The thing dropped onto the bars with a clang, its limbs bending at impossible angles as it skittered toward them. Mia grabbed Eli's arm, yanking him toward the gate. A second creature dropped from the bars behind them. Then a third. Their laughter was wet, gurgling, wrong. "Stay and play." They ran. Eli tripped, his knees scraping against broken pavement. Mia hauled him up as the thing scuttled closer, their elongated fingers scraping against the ground. The gate was too far. The jungle gym was closer. "Climb!" Mia shoved Eli toward it, praying the rusted metal would hold. The creatures followed, their bodies contorting to squeeze between bars, their laughter rising to a shriek. Mia reached the top just as something grabbed her ankle. She kicked, her sneaker connecting with a face that felt like wet leather. The thing hissed, but its grip held. Eli screamed as another creature lunged at him and missed, its jaws snapping shut on empty air as he swung to the next bar. They were learning, adapting, getting faster. Mia didn't remember jumping the fence. She didn't remember dragging Eli down the street. She only remembered the sound, the awful, gurgling laughter fading behind them as they ran. The police found them an hour later, huddled under a bus stop, Eli's pants soaked in urine, Mia's fingers bleeding from gripping the jungle gym so hard. They didn't believe the story. Not until they checked Mia's phone, the video she'd forgotten she was recording. The footage showed everything. The creatures, the chase, and worst of all, the final frame where one of the things waved at the camera before climbing back onto the monkey bars. Waiting. Riverview Playground was demolished the next month, but if you pass by the empty lot at night, you might hear it. The clang of metal, the giggle of something that isn't human. And if you look too close, you'll see them, dangling from invisible bars, reaching for you. Sunset Park had been closed since the summer of 1980. When a carousel malfunctioned during a birthday party sent 5-year-old Lucy Mayhew flying into the support beams. The impact killed her instantly. Witnesses swore the carousel had been moving too fast, far faster than its old motor should have allowed. Stranger still, the calliope music had continued playing for nearly an hour after the accident, long after the power was cut. The park was shuttered the next day. Now 30 years later, the carousel sat frozen in time, its painted horses cracked and sun-bleached. Their once lively eyes now hollow sockets. But sometimes when the wind was just right, the calliope would play a single broken tune. Pop goes the weasel, and the horses would twitch. $50 says you won't spin it. Derek Langley rolled his eyes at his friend Cole's smirk. The group, Derek, Cole, Priya, and Mark, had been drinking in the parking lot outside Sunset Park when the conversation turned, as it always did, to the infamous carousel. Priya hugged herself. My cousin snuck in last year. She said the horses watched her. Mark snorted. Probably just raccoons. Cole nudged Derek. One full rotation. Film it, $50. Derek glanced at the rusted park gates. The carousel was just visible through the chain link, its skeletal frame silhouetted against the moon. Easy money, he said, standing. The carousel was worse up close. Up close, Derek could see the way the horses' mouths stretched too wide, their teeth too sharp. Up close, he could smell the rot in the wooden platform, like something had died beneath it. He positioned his phone on a broken bench, making sure the camera captured the entire structure. Here we go, he narrated. One spin for $50. The carousel resisted at first, its mechanism groaning in protest. Then with a lurch, it began to move. Slowly at first, then faster. Too fast. The calliope music started abruptly, the notes warped and off-key, all around the mulberry bush. Derek stumbled back as the horses' heads twisted toward him, their painted eyes now wet and gleaming. Cole's scream snapped Derek from his daze. Priya was pointing at the carousel, her mouth working soundlessly. Mark was already running because Cole wasn't standing beside them anymore. Cole was on the carousel. His body was draped over one of the horses, his limbs bent at impossible angles. As the platform spun faster, his head lolled back, his mouth stretched in a silent scream. The calliope music grew louder, the tune speeding up. The monkey chased the weasel. Derek lunged for Cole, but the carousel was moving too quickly now, the horses' wooden legs kicking at the air as they galloped in their endless circle. Then with a wet crunch, Cole's body folded backward over the horse, his spine snapping like a dry twig. The music reached its crescendo. Pop! Cole's body burst, showering the platform in gore. The horses' mouths opened wider, their wooden tongues lapping at the blood as the carousel slowed. Derek didn't remember running. He didn't remember climbing the fence. He only remembered the sound. The calliope starting up again as they reached the parking lot, the tune cheerful and bright, all around the mulberry bush. The police didn't believe them. Not until they saw Derek's phone. The video showed everything, the carousel moving on its own, Cole being pulled onto it, and worst of all, the final frames where one of the horses turned to the camera and winked before the screen went dark. They demolished the carousel the next week. But sometimes on quiet nights you can still hear it. Pop, and the sound of something laughing.